Welcome to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'm your host, Maritza Barone. In this show, I will introduce you to ideas, concepts, and mindsets that will open your mind to a new world of well-being and personal life growth. Through eye-opening interviews, we elevate people in the world doing amazing things for humanity and share insights that will shift you to become the happiest, healthiest, kindest, and most compassionate version of you. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Things You Can't Unhear in this brand new year, 2021. It sounds so futuristic, doesn't it? So commonly at the start of a new year, many of us take the opportunity to set fresh goals, resolutions, break old patterns, and make change of some sort. Change to make our lives better, happier, healthier. It seems this year all of us need to do this after the massive year that we've all just had. But before we do it, let's take account of all the things we've accomplished this year. A couple of days ago, I wrote out a list of all of my biggest achievements in 2020. And you know what? The list was pretty damn impressive considering the year that we'd had. Before I wrote it out, I hadn't even really considered what I'd managed to do in this lap around the sun. And you know what? I think it's important to reflect on what worked, to give ourselves that acknowledgement so that we can go into the new year with clear intentions. For those who don't know and who may be new to this podcast, I've just moved to Fiji and I'm trying to establish myself here and find my feet and, just settle in. And I've had my ups and my downs and it's been overall really great. But I'm going back to that moment before I left and the time in the lead up to leaving. And when I left Australia, I had the desire to make sure that I would come here with a clean slate to create the life that I wanted to live and surround myself with people that inspire and support each other and that live life with purpose and meaning. I set the intention to eat well, have less red meat, to get really fit, to find more time for my spiritual practices, to set a firm routine with meditation and yoga, and to find my well-being tribe and create with them. I've visualized so much of this in the lead up to coming here, and it is all very clear in my heart of what I want to create. I have said this many times in this podcast. We can grow via insight or by pain. We can either change by design or by disaster. We can just wait to see what happens, or we can create the life that we want to live. So I choose again and again, change by design, change by insight. Create the life that you want to live. It is a conscious choice to put time into the type of future you want to create. Set those big and beautiful intentions and repeatedly check on them daily. Write them down, literally over and over, at least for 30 days until you start to genuinely believe them. So I did this this morning actually with a big goal of mine by writing out a future tense outline of a project I'm working on with a clear set of outcomes. Like it was almost like an about us description set into the future. It was big, it was bold, it was scary, but it was so exciting to feel how it would once this became a reality. And that's the exact feeling that we have to create in order to start manifesting these things into our lives. And we can't just do it once. We need to feel it over and over. And that's why, for me, writing it down over 30 days each morning works really well. And it will work for you too. So get that pen and paper. It's really powerful. Now, I recently watched a documentary called Enlightenment on Gaia TV. If you haven't checked it out online, it's brilliant content. And something that was said really caught my attention that I wanted to share with you. They said if you're constantly finding yourself in the same type of scenario, like the same type of relationship, the same type of job, the same health conditions, the same toxic friendships that aren't serving you, you are attracting this repetitively into your life, and something within you needs to be resolved so that you can move on to the next level of life. They said there needs to be change, but not everyone likes change. So the first step is awareness and the willingness to change and the belief that your life can improve if you take the right steps to do so. So don't just complain about the problem. Do something to resolve the problem. Do something to resolve the problem. Powerful sentiment and very, very true. The big word for me this year is awareness. I'm going to live this year consciously, awake, like eyes open to what's going on around me. And I intend to tune into my intuition on a deeper level, make sure not to miss little messages and signs that are being sent my way, because it happens all the time. I don't believe in coincidences. Even last weekend over New Year's, we went and stayed at a Fiji resort for a few days to celebrate the New Year's Eve period. And as soon as we arrived, we got our room key and the number of the room that we were staying in was 2021. And my husband and I just look at each other and we're like, oh, that's such a cute little nod to say, you know what, we're backing you. It's going to be a great year. These are little things that I pick up. There were hundreds of rooms, hundreds and hundreds of rooms in this resort, and we get the 2021 room. I love little signs like that. So as I said, the big word for me this year is awareness. Don't miss out on those messages and signs that are constantly being sent my way, not only for my personal life, but also to keep an awareness of what is going on within the world around me. And there's still so much, I don't know if we call it unrest or change or restrictions to come this year for all of us, for the collective. So choose now how you're going to deal with it. I've been following Elizabeth April's messaging. Now she's really, really out there. She calls herself a paradigm shifter, a truth seeker, a 3D, 5D activist, and a Galactic Federation rep. Her messaging is really, really, really out there. And maybe not for everyone, but she always says in all of her videos, take what serves you and leave what doesn't. And that's exactly what I do. But she gives us a predictions for 2021, and she was pretty spot on with her 2020 predictions last year. For her 2021 predictions, the biggest takeaway I took from listening to her is that we need to view world movements with open eyes. Create our own perception of what's going on in the world around us and do intuitively what feels right rather than being fueled by fear. So just keep that in mind when getting sucked up by horrific news headlines, and try to perhaps choose your news sources wisely or limit the amount of mainstream news you consume, just to ensure you stay true to your inner guidance and do not become driven by fear and by worry. And if you are watching the news, you are reading the news, then just stand back and look at what you're listening to. And if something's being said that isn't serving you, then don't take it on board. You don't have to believe everything that you hear. You don't have to do everything you're being told. So just do what intuitively feels right for you. And that's the way that I'm going to be rolling through 2021. So what big buzzword will you choose for this year? Awareness, like me, love, abundance, guidance, intuition, peace, contentment, purpose, or freedom. Whatever you seek, know it is there already in your heart. Wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful year ahead. Thank you for coming back time and time again to listen to this show. This year we will continue to find and elevate people working to make positive change in the world and share stories of growth, resilience, and purpose. And I'm looking forward to every single minute and every single person that I meet throughout this series. If you can, just do me a tiny little favor on top of everything else I just suggested for you. But for me, if you could pop a little review into iTunes, if you enjoy listening to the show, it does the podcast incredible help in being found by others and sharing these stories further. And it just takes a tiny little second. So that's my small ask from me to you. I hope you can find the time to do so. Thank you again for listening as always. And as they say in Fiji, vinaka vaka levu. Thank you for listening to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'd love to keep the conversation going. Let us know what you thought of this episode, and if something profound came up for you that you want to share, let's talk about it. You can find me on Instagram at Things You Can't Unhear or on my personal page at Maritza_Barone. And if someone you know will benefit from something that was said in this show, make sure you share it with them too. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and keep up to date with what's next. And if you can spare a few seconds, please rate and review the show on iTunes, just so other people can find us more easily and quickly. And as always, my friends, be happy, be healthy, be conscious, and be kind.